5 ways Wix is fantastic for WordPress consultants. Now, this is going to be a fun conversation to have because more times than not, I hear people say Wix is kind of eating my lunch rather than being something that benefits me. And so, what I mean by that is you meet with clients and people are like, it'd be great to build a website. I need something for my business and everything, but I can't spend, $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 with you when I could just get something for way cheaper on Wix and maybe even build it myself for free. And so people are losing clients to Wix, even though in your mind, that you deliver something dramatically better than what people can get on Wix, especially if they're just kind of working on their own or with somebody who just sort of, is new to the experience and is building like $250 websites on Wix or something like that. And so, so what I wanted to do is bring out like 5 really important reasons why Wix is actually a fantastic thing for WordPress consultants. Like, how can Wix benefit you, and how can you use that to your advantage when you're talking to your clients and things like that? So I'm Lee. I am the founder of DoubleStack. I help WordPress developers and consultants generate $5,000 to $10,000 per month consistently with a workload that doesn't stress you out. If that's the kind of thing that's interesting to you, you can head over to doublestack.net, check it out over there. And what we're doing today is we're getting together for our live sessions that we do every Tuesday at 2 p.m. And today we're talking about 5 ways Wix is fantastic for WordPress consultants. And here's basically the bottom line behind all of this is that Wix really does a great job at showing that nice looking, responsive, low cost websites are pretty much basically worth what you paid for it, almost nothing. And how can you use that kind of a situation to your advantage when you're talking to your clients about how you can do something different and better, dramatically better than working with Wix. So if you're here and you have something to say and you want to just say hello or anything like that, hey, there's Cliff. High five, boop. Good to see you. If you have any questions or want to kind of chime into this conversation, or you maybe post some comments about some experiences that you've had when you've been talking to clients about Wix and things like that, definitely hop on into the comments. I've got 2 screens going on, so I'll be keeping an eye on over there, looking for things coming through. And if nothing else, just say, hey, it's great to just give you a high five. Ding! And then we'll jump into it. So the first thing is, and maybe one of the biggest points about how Wix is a benefit to WordPress consultants, is that Wix shows that websites alone don't produce results. One of the biggest problems that people have on the Wix platform is that they don't get, the websites aren't generating leads. They're not being found online. There's no tools in place to generate leads. There's nothing happening to really drive any sort of a business result or outcome with a Wix website. And sometimes it's not necessarily even the fault of the Wix platform, because I know that there's a handful of people out there that have a Wix website that does something for them, but the vast majority of people on that platform, they basically just have a brochure site. Like they put a check in the box where that says I have a website, and that's kind of how they view their situation with Wix. And the problem is that they're not getting results out of it. And so the reason that this tends to be a problem in the WordPress world is you might go into a client meeting and you say, hey, I was just checking out your website. There's some problems. Then you try to educate people on what the issues are. Maybe they're not getting any results on SEO. Maybe it's page load speed. Maybe it's design. Maybe it's whatever it might be. And then you say, let me help you with your website. And then the client says, I already have a website. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't need a new one. I don't want to invest any more money into that whole situation. And so therefore you kind of lose the lead. It's not a good fit. And but what we can do is we can turn that situation around and actually cause you to benefit from that type of a reaction, as opposed to lose the lead altogether. And so and of course it all comes down to the results. It's like when you talk to somebody about how their website isn't generating results, their inclination is websites don't generate results for my business. The truth is websites generate results for anyone's business. They're just not using it properly. They're not doing what's necessary to generate the results. And a significant aspect of that is they probably just have an inexperienced person helping them. Maybe they did it themselves. Maybe they don't know what they're doing. And so a very realistic and reasonable thing to kind of point out is, hey, if you're telling me that the website doesn't generate leads for you, Is it the website? Is it the internet's fault? Is it that nobody's running a business or generating leads on the internet? Or is it that you are not doing it effectively? And so I think pretty much any reasonable person would pretty quickly conclude that internet marketing, digital marketing, doing things online to grow an audience, reach an audience, automate lead nurturing, and all those types of things do in fact have dramatic results. I mean, here we are right now. There's like over 1,000 people sitting here in this group right now talking about how we can do better for our clients, and the internet's facilitating all of that. And so obviously, when you do things the right way, the internet can have a huge impact with growing an audience, reaching people, helping people, communicating what you can do to serve them. And most reasonable people will quickly realize, hey, it's not the internet's fault, it's actually my fault. And therefore, if I did something better or different, then we could expect and to see different results. And so therefore you've set apart yourself in a dramatic way. Like on one hand, there's like these cheap, inexpensive, low budget websites that don't do anything. And on the other hand, there's you. And so, so you're kind of showing that, hey, if all you're doing is trying to find a cheap website or a cheap web developer or some kind of inexpensive path to getting online, then it probably isn't going to be that great of an investment for you. And Wix is really showing that. And so that's kind of the first point. The first point is that Wix shows that websites alone don't really produce results. And that's good for web developers who know how to generate results and do something different, because it kind of sets the stage where when someone says, oh, I have a website that's not working, then you can do something about it. So it presents a need, it sets the stage, it differentiates you from other people, and it begins to illuminate the difference between building a website and driving results online. And Wix is something that's really, a catalyst for people having that type of a realization. And that's a huge thing. It sets the stage for the conversation of why you're better than Wix. And so that's a big point. So point number one is Wix shows that websites alone don't produce results. The second point is that Wix is pushing WordPress consultants to broaden their skills. And that's the thing that's been really, really great for the WordPress community and web designers at large. Because if you're in the situation where your skill set is refined to simply putting together a 5-page website that's responsive and it's kind of just brochure style and doesn't really do anything, that is what you get on Wix. You get a 5-page website that's pretty responsive. Like you can go, like almost all the Wix themes that I know about, they somehow morph into various screen size, they're responsive, they look good on mobile, tablet, desktop, all that stuff. And so if you're beginning to think, well, what I am is like a human version of Wix, and the difference between a client going to Wix and a client coming to me is who clicks the buttons, basically. And so if a client were to go to Wix, they'd click their own buttons on their platform, where if they contact you, then you're clicking your buttons in the WordPress world, but the outcome is the same. You're going to have a super hard time differentiating yourself from why somebody should spend, even $1,000, much less $5,000 working with you compared to, a couple $100, working with somebody who could just build a cheap Wix site, or maybe even free, like you can build your own site there. So, so what it's doing is Wix is pushing WordPress consultants to broaden their skills into a situation where not only are they building a nice technically created website that is responsive, it is secure, you've got, all the things that ordinarily kind of get bundled up into a Wix platform, but then it goes beyond. It goes beyond in terms of optimizing for SEO. It goes beyond in terms of connecting and building and growing an email list. It goes beyond, maybe e-commerce is involved, maybe, setting up drip campaigns or something that you do, maybe creating sales funnels, various things that, so many things. That's just the tip of the iceberg. And what it's doing is it's saying, hey, if you want to really make a difference for your clients, you have to do two things. You have to have the technical skills to be able to implement a solid website, but you also have to have the technical skills to drive business results. And those are the two stacks. That's basically the whole point of DoubleStack, is to make sure that you have confidence in both of those stacks, both of those areas. The tech stack that has like technical outcomes, and then also what tools and platforms and systems and strategies can you put in place that drive business results for your clients. And that second stack is entirely missing from the Wix platform, because all Wix is a technical stack. It's just how do you get a website online? And so the second reason that I think Wix has really benefited the WordPress economy, and with consultants and developers that work in the WordPress world, is it's pushing us to learn and do more things than simply building a website, swapping out a better theme, that kind of stuff. It's pushing us out and beyond just the technical sphere into an area where we're actually able to help and serve our clients at a deeper level, where we're actually driving the kinds of outcomes and results that they really, really need. And it's never the website. The website is always the stepping stone to the outcomes they need. They need more leads. They need to generate more sales. They need to be able to better communicate their message. They need to onboard new clients. They need higher value clients. They need recurring clients. Like, all of those things are things that people need. And a website is a component to that, but it's not the only component, nor is it a sufficient component. Like, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient, right? It's like it's something that you need, but it's not all you need. And what Wix is actually showing the WordPress world that, hey, you know what? It's not enough just to build a website. You need to do more. You need that business development side into the mix. And so people are now broadening their skills, which is not only better for the WordPress world, it's better for their clients too, because now more people are getting the outcomes that they're looking for, albeit still a small segment, because not a lot of people have made that shift yet. But I think Wix is contributing to it. I think Wix is helping us realize, hey, if all I'm doing is basically duplicating Wix on my own, I'm not really doing enough. I need to figure something else out so I can differentiate myself and do a better job for my clients than simply duplicating the same outcome that they could get for really inexpensive prices on Wix. So that's kind of thing number two. It's helping us broaden our skills. The third thing is Wix is enabling WordPress developers to charge significantly higher rates. And the reason you can charge higher rates is because you're offering significantly different outcomes. So for example, if you're in the business of building a Wix website, like, I know a bunch of people, like I've talked to a handful of people who they just don't really want to fiddle around too much with web development and things like that. Yet they tend to come across clients who need websites. So for example, one of the people that I know runs a software firm that creates, it's kind of a complicated thing, but basically it's like an electronic medical record system on steroids. It's like a full lifespan analysis of your health. And and the idea behind it is you can begin to look at some of the historical issues that have gone on in your life with regard to your health and see how those things are impacting your health as it is today. So for example, if you had a lot of allergies and things as a kid, what does that mean about your digestive system today? And what does that mean about your sleep disorders, your anxiety, or skin rashes, or whatever food allergies that you might be having today? And can you take that historical data, put it together, and figure out how to help? Like, maybe it's not indigestion that you have. Maybe you need probiotics, something like that. So anyway, all that is to say that they run this really cool software platform that's helping doctors help diagnose patients with significantly better outcomes, with better analysis of what they really need to get their life back on track. And so what that means is they attract a lot of doctors. Doctors oftentimes don't have the websites they need, and so they say, hey, we don't really build websites, but if you for $500, I'll coach you through building a Wix website. And that's kind of their thing. That's kind of what they do. And then from time to time, if they find a doctor who wants more than that, or has a whatever, then they might refer the doctor to somebody like us or whatever, where we build better websites for them or something like that. But like a significant part of their business is just, hey, $500 website, and it's, we're kind of just walking you. They're not even doing it for them. They're just kind of showing the doctors or maybe some of the doctors' assistants or whatever how to build their own site on Wix. And so, and it's super duper cheap. So the third thing that I think Wix is doing for the WordPress system, the WordPress world, is it's allowing us as developers to say, hey, if that's not what you want, like you recognize that just putting a website on the internet is not going to drive the results you're looking for, then here's another option. And we can charge significantly more for it because it's a dramatically different product. It's not just instead of having your site on Wix, it's now on WordPress, but it's the same thing. You're not just swapping out the technology, you're swapping out the results. And because of that, you can really make the case for where your time is, where your expertise is, the knowledge that you have in the industry, the insight that you have into which tools would be appropriate for their situation, for the types of businesses that you're working with. And now you're dramatically differentiating yourself from just like an automated system. And Wix is really helping WordPress developers make that distinction in the minds of their clients. And I think that's a huge win. That's a big win, because you don't want to get into the situation where you have one particular outcome, another person has the same other outcome, a million other people are releasing the same thing, and now you're competing on price. And the only thing that differentiates you is on price. That's why the price on Upwork is so cheap, and Fiverr, and overseas developers and things like that. The reason that the price is going down and down and down and down is because the only thing they're competing with each other against is basically price. And now there are other platforms that are even free. And so people are competing against free, continuing to push the price down further and further. So when you begin to say, hey, I'm not competing on price, we're not just delivering a brochure site on one platform versus the other, we're actually doing a fundamentally different thing, then you have the ability to talk about your services in a different way, to connect with your services in a high ticket, long-term way instead of a short ticket, short-term way, or a low ticket, short-term way. And that's a really big distinction. And the Wix platform is really facilitating that type of a conversation now that it was more difficult to describe before, because there wasn't such a large example of how just building a cheap website doesn't really do anything. And so I think that the third thing that Wix is actually doing is saying, hey, if you want something different, like in the context of the guys that run that medical software, if you want something different from a $500 site, then contact these guys and they'll do something different for you. And the expectation in the client's mind is, oh, this is going to be like a digital marketing program and business development, and it's going to include a website, but it's going to do more than that. And consequently, it's like a $25,000 project instead of a $500 project. It's that big of a shift. And I think Wix is really helping differentiate in the client's mind what the difference is between those two types of things. And that's the third reason that I think Wix is actually fantastic for WordPress consultants, because of that differentiating factor. And here's the fourth one. The fourth reason that I think Wix is fantastic for WordPress consultants is that Wix is helping WordPress consultants develop a more stable business structure for themselves. So, like the idea of like the one and done website thing, you build a website, you launch it, and then you move on and try to find a new client. That structure is not good for so many reasons. The price is all wrong. Like, you can't charge a lot of money for that. And Wix is really highlighting that, because if that's the kind of outcome your client wants, it's so inexpensive. They can do it themselves. They can get someone on Upwork. They can get somebody's daughter or son or whatever to kind of who's like 15 can build a Wix website for super cheap. And it doesn't really, if you're going to charge $5,000, somebody else is charging $50. It's, you can't compete at that level. And so consequently, you can't charge cheap rates is basically the point there. So it's revealing that the price point is all wrong. The structure, of course, is all wrong. It's the one and done kind of concept. And so what Wix is really doing is it's helping, kind of like we were just talking about, like if the client wants to move into something different from just a cheap website that doesn't work, then it's opening up the door to recurring revenue for you as a digital marketing consultant. And I think without Wix, it would be more difficult to describe the difference between what does a cheap website do for you versus an ongoing process where we're working together. And again, it's Wix is standing out as an example of what not to do if you want to actually be serious about your business with attracting leads, automating the education of different clients and all of those types of things. And again, it's not necessarily that it's the technology that's the problem. And I really want to underscore that, because it's not, I wouldn't go so far as to say that Wix is a horrible platform from a technological perspective. And I don't think that Squarespace is either, or I've never really done anything with Weebly, but those platforms are not bad. They used to be worse. They're getting better, but the problem is it's just the technology, and it's just the single stack. It's just the tech stack aspect of getting online without the business development, without the consultant, without the thought of what am I doing this for, right? Like that's a different thing. It's like, one thing is, what do I get? You get a website. The next question is, why do I have the website? What I do with it? What am I, how do I actually use that to get what I really want? And of course, what people really want is more clients, more customers, more revenue, better ability to communicate with their audience, to, all of those types of things are what they really want, so that they'll build their business. That's ultimately what they want. They want more clients and more revenue. And that's what's happening is people aren't able to connect the dots anymore between how like a cheap website is actually going to generate those types of results. And Wix is highlighting that in a way that's never been done before, which is causing WordPress consultants to be able to establish a much more stable business structure for themselves, because rather than just doing the one and done websites, they're creating contracts for their clients where we're going to say, here's the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to build out your online properties. And it's going to include a website. We're going to put together your social media channels. We're going to do, consistent branding across all those properties. We're going to make sure your marketing messaging is dialed in. We're going to make sure that you have other ways to reach out to clients that goes beyond just social media, because social media is not really the best way to broadcast a message. It's much more in line with sort of on-demand communication as opposed to broadcasting messages. For example, like you post something on your Facebook feed, and if you don't pay to boost it, it only shows up to like maybe 2 or 3% at most of your followers, unless you pay to boost it, right? And of course, you don't want to pay to boost every single thing that you say. And so I don't think a lot of people realize that. And Wix is sort of helping to highlight it. But also, just kind of as a side note, like if you run across a client that said, hey, we don't need a website, we use a Facebook page, ask them what they use the Facebook page for. They'll probably think they're using it to communicate with their audience, with the people that are interested in their business. And of course, the truth is, you can then follow up and say, are you paying to boost those posts? If they say, no, we don't have the budget for that or whatever, then you say, well, you're not actually reaching the people you think you are, unless they go to your page. You're not pushing the content to them. Obviously, anybody can go to your page and read the content and pull it, but you're not pushing it to them in the same way that you would be even if you like had an email list or something like that. So this is one of those things that's really helping. It's like WordPress consultants are developing a more stable business because they're putting together month-to-month contracts where they're doing things that drive business results for their clients. And those are the types of things that require month-to-month attention. Now, I also will say it doesn't require all day long, 40-hour-a-week, full-time job attention. But what if you just had a couple hours a week, 10 hours a month, something like that, in terms of like a month-to-month retainer. And what if you charged $85 an hour for that? And what if you were making $850 per month from every client that you onboarded? And now just on the retainers, every time you get a retainer in place, you've given yourself a $10,000 raise. It's over that. It's like $10,200 over the course of 12 months when you're charging people $850 per month. And it's a great deal for you because you're making a lot of money. You're, stabilizing your income. It's a great deal for your clients because you're getting that second stack in place, that business development aspect of things where they're getting the results. That's the whole point, that it's not enough just to have the technical side. You have to have the business side too. And Wix is really helping WordPress developers and consultants realize, what? It's not good for me to just build websites. It's not good for my clients to just hand them a website. What I really need to do is create a more stable business structure that has ongoing services that I can render to my clients so that they get the kind of outcomes that they're really looking for. And so it's better for you, it's better for them. You're making more money, they're making more money. Their clients are actually seeing the kind of stuff that you're creating. It's a significantly better situation all around. And I believe that Wix has been a big catalyst in terms of making that shift take place in the digital marketing world, in the WordPress development world, because there's no question about it that WordPress is the most powerful platform for building websites ever in the history of the earth. It's growing in popularity every month. It's over a third of the websites are out there. I think it's up to 34% last time I checked. It's, people give WordPress a lot of flack that it's not necessarily technically implemented in, the most genius of all ways or something like that. But it doesn't matter because the ecosystem is so much more powerful than any other system out there. So it's just unbelievable. Like all the stuff that used to be hard, right? Like even e-commerce stuff, hosting, backups and plugins and maintenance and all of those things that used to be difficult, website security, those things are much more easy now than they were even just a year or two ago. And so consequently, this whole situation where people are saying, hey, I got to do more than just put up a strong platform. I have to do something with it. What people are doing is, Wix is actually causing WordPress developers to do a better job for themselves, which means they're doing a better job for their clients, which means that their clients are their customers. The triple win right on down the road. Everything is more successful that way. And Wix has been a catalyst to help people realize that it's not enough just to have a website, and it's not enough to have a business structure where you sell websites anymore. Whereas it used to be the case that was fine. Today, it's not the case. If you're out there selling websites, you're going to find that your pricing is going to continue to go down, even though your skills go up. It doesn't matter. You're going to find that your revenue is totally wonky. It's like tons, you get a project, then you get nothing. You're going to find that you're not generating results for your clients because we're in a situation where just having a website really doesn't make any difference. And we kind of talked about that as one of the points why, Wix is really highlighting that. And so people are now putting some thought into how can I change my business structure so I can do better for my clients. I can serve them at a deeper level. I can generate the kinds of outcomes that they're looking for. And as nice as that is, it's also nice that that generates a better business structure for you. So that means that you can actually scale to hit $100,000 a year. It's not out of the question at all. So, but for example, you get people paying you $850 per month for 10 hours of work every single month. What that means is you're working 2.5 hours per week on that project. What if you had 5 clients like that, right? So what if you're working 2.5 hours a day, 5 days a week with just this 10 hour per month type of $85 per hour kind of situation? You've just given your business or yourself, an extra $50,000 a year just by working 2.5 hours a day, 5 days a week. What if you want to scale that to $100,000 a year? You can get yourself, 10 clients. You don't have to have a lot of clients. You're not working a crazy amount of time. That's 5 hours a day, 5 days a week with contracts at this introductory level, mind you, because a lot of the people that I'm working with through DoubleStack, they start out charging their clients $850 per month, but then they ramp it up. Like as results come in, more work can be done. The clients can afford, higher levels of service, and you start ramping up to $1,250 a month or to $2,000 or $2,500. I've got, some people are charging $3,500 per month to service their clients' projects and so forth. So what that means is you don't have to even have 10 clients. Like you can have somewhere between like 5 to 10 clients total in your whole portfolio. And your business structure has shifted to a point now where you're making over $100,000 a year. You're doing it with a work-life balance that's reasonable without freaking yourself out, working nights and weekends and all that crazy stuff. And you don't have to hire other developers or subcontractors or anything else like that to hit that level. And it's a structure that you can achieve the kind of revenue goals that you're really looking for if you put it in place like that. And Wix is helping us realize that if you're just selling websites, you're never going to be able to find that many clients, build that many sites, do that much work. And even if you could, you'd be cutting corners and doing really, really cheap, fast work that's not driving results for your clients. So it's worse for them. It's worse for you. Everybody loses that way. Wix is making us realize that. And so now WordPress consultants are building a better business structure for themselves. And then the fifth reason and final reason why Wix is a fantastic situation when it comes to WordPress developers and consultants is that in response to Wix, a new generation of consultants and digital marketers are rising up to really do a better job for their clients. And so they're learning what kind of platforms and tools they can be putting in place. They're learning how to talk about their businesses in a different way so they're not selling websites anymore. And they don't have to, how frustrating is it to have to educate somebody on what problems they have just so you can sell them a solution to the thing you just taught them? That's a super frustrating thing because it overwhelms clients. They don't really even know what you're talking about. They don't really feel like there's any connection between how if you educate somebody on a particular thing and then you fix that thing, but they never even knew they had it as a problem in the first place, what difference does it make, right? Like they're not feeling the benefit of that solution because they didn't even know they had the problem in the first place. And whatever the consequences of having that problem were, they're not really feeling it because they don't even know what it even is. So how frustrating is it to try to educate people on what you could be doing to help when and then the whole point of that is to teach them how you can sell them something else. Anyway, all that is to say that in response to Wix, that we're bringing this new generation of consultants out there to really serve clients in a deeper way. So rather than teaching them technical stuff and how you can fix those problems, they're saying, hey, here's some kind of outcomes that we can actually deliver for your business in terms of generating leads, in terms of generating more revenue, in terms of raising the value of the clients that they're getting, increasing the frequency of clients, like recurring clients for their business and things like that, helping them streamline things that used to take more time, like their own marketing efforts. Like what kind of things can you automate for them so they don't have to spend so much time out there kind of having the same conversation over and over? What about making them more effective at communicating to the clients that they do have? Like say, for example, you work with somebody I work with a lot of doctors. Doctors can do a lot of things. What if it's a digestive issue? What if it's a skin issue? What if it's an eye issue? What if it's a back pain issue? You don't want to be sitting people that have digestive problems, how to have a stronger back or whatever. You want to make sure that you're sending the right information to the right people at the right time. How can you do that? How can you help your clients do that more effectively? These are the types of tools and techniques and strategies and concepts that you want, that Wix is actually allowing us to build a generation of people that think about that stuff and that put together a system that resolves those types of issues in conjunction with, making a better online presence in the first place. So it's really those two things. It's the tech stack to build better websites for people, and it's the business development stack for saying, okay, now what combination of other tools and services and platforms and marketing strategies and all that stuff can we put together so that we have a system that actually makes a difference for the clients that you're working with. And that's kind of the fifth thing. The fifth thing that I think Wix is helping to do is create a bunch of people that realize, hey, you know what, building websites isn't enough. We need to rise up and do something better, not just for ourselves, but also for our clients. And I think that's a really big point. So kind of summarizing the 5 points real quick. Wix shows that websites alone don't produce results. That's thing number one. Thing number two, Wix is pushing WordPress consultants to broaden their skills. So that's thing number two. Thing number three is Wix is enabling WordPress developers to charge higher rates. Thing number four is Wix is helping WordPress consultants develop a more stable business structure for themselves. And then the final thing is, in response to Wix, a new generation of consultants is really rising up to do better for themselves, and of course also to do better for their clients. And I think that's probably the best part of the whole thing is that, now that Wix is out there, we're all saying, hey, this isn't working for me. I can't just go around selling cheap websites anymore. That's just not going to happen. What can I do that's better? And it turns out that it's not just better for you, it's better for you, and it's better for your clients, and it's better for their customers too. And I think that's, anytime you get like a triple win like that, straight on down the line, that's a fantastic thing. And that's why I say that, those are 5 ways that Wix is fantastic for WordPress consultants. And if you're thinking to yourself, man, I want to do that. I want to be part of that generation that's rising up and doing something better than just basically building Wix websites on WordPress. Because by the way, if that's the thing that you're trying to do, like if you're trying to convince someone not to get a Wix site and then instead work with you on WordPress, or even worse, you're trying to pull them off of Wix onto WordPress, and what you're saying is, now that we're going to move your site from Wix to WordPress, now you get to pay me to host, and you get to pay me to do updates and security and plugin updates and the whole maintenance care package and all that other stuff. And the website costs more too. That's a terrible offer. Like no one's going to say yes to that. You can't just say, hey, I'm just going to build a different, basically the same website on a different platform. And the benefit to you is it costs you more because now you can pay me to do updates. You don't want to do that. That obviously that doesn't make any sense. And so if you're thinking to yourself, well, how do I do better? Like, what are some of those technical tools I can put in place that drive results? And how can I package that up together in a system that's really going to help me communicate how I can help my clients and how in a way that they realize what the difference is? And so, and then once you have that kind of package together, where do you go to find clients? And how do you talk about your business in a way that's different from the way that maybe you used to do it? If you're just talking about, well, I think you need a website. I think you need SEO services. I think you need to have better branding. I think whatever it might be that you used to say, how do you change the way you talk about your business? So you're not talking about your business, you're talking about their business. That's a big shift. And then how do you write a proposal? Like another big shift is instead of cramming your proposals with like all the technology that you're going to start delivering to people, how do you do better than that? Instead of overwhelming your clients with all that technology, how do you inspire them to start working with you? That's a big difference, overwhelming versus inspiring. So anyway, if those are some things that you've been thinking about, or maybe price is another issue, like the price point. Like, how do you know what's the right price to charge in your area for the types of clients you're looking for? And not just the price for the website itself, but also, what is a good price for that monthly retainer? Like, is $850 per month good? What about double that? What about half of that? Like, where is the price going to fall for what you're offering for the types of clients that you work with? And the types of revenue goals you even have for yourself, like where do you want to get and what do you need to be charging to get there? So if any of those things are things that you're thinking about and want to talk about, then let's get together on the phone and do it one-on-one for free. It's like a 45-minute phone conversation between you and me. Go over to doublestack.net/call and you'll see my calendar pop up. Pick a time that you feel like works well for you. Right after that, you'll see a form. Fill that out. It's got a link to your website. It's going to be just a little information about your business and kind of what you're working on, so that when we get on the phone, I'll be super prepared to talk about all of these things in the context of your business, the type of work that you do, the type of experience you have, the type of interests that you have, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll dial all of this stuff in so that you can actually, make a living at this, doing great work with clients that you love working with the stability of income, hitting, $8, $9, $10,000 a month consistently without having to work 50 hours a day. We're talking about like with an 8-hour day. How can you have a regular job where you're making 6 figures, you're doing it out of your house, and you're doing it in a way that is super fulfilling, where you're rewarding, where clients, the success that you see from working with a client is just so rewarding. There's so many people out there that have jobs that just absolutely stink. And when I look around at the other double stackers, my job, and the job that maybe you have too, and look around at people doing this stuff where the highlight of your day is not just, when can I take a lunch break or something. The highlight of your day is like, dude, I just helped my client double their income. That kind of, that's so fulfilling. And it's rewarding, and it's actually using your mind and your skills to do better for yourself and to do better for other people. Everybody wins like that. And if that's the kind of thing that you really feel like is for you, then, let's talk about how we can make that happen to make sure that you've got that fastest path to success, where over the next couple of weeks, you go from like $0 to like 25 grand of new business, something like that. That's what we're doing. Like if look at some of the interviews that we've been doing with the double stackers at doublestack.net. Just go there. There's like 3, 4, 5 different interviews right there right now where people went from basically nothing to over 25 grand in a couple of weeks, or 50 grand in a couple of weeks. Huge shifts. And the shift is, all these 5 things that we just talked about what Wix has kind of made us all realize with regard to why you just can't go around selling websites. You have to sell outcomes. And when you put those 2 things together and you combine that with a marketing strategy for yourself to attract the right clients at the right price, it's an unstoppable kind of thing. It's a huge win for everybody. There's no losers when it comes to that type of a structure, because all of the things we just said, no need to reiterate all those things. But anyway, all that is to say, if you feel like that's the kind of thing that you're looking for, you want to talk about how to implement that stuff into your business, head over to doublestack.net/call. So it's .net, so it's doublestack.net/call. And that's going to pull up my calendar. It's my personal calendar. You and I will be one-on-one on the phone together, and we'll dial all that stuff into you to figure out exactly how to get these tools in place, how to write, better proposals, how to run these better client meetings, all the things that we just talked about with the 5 ways that Wix is fantastic for WordPress consultants. So there we go, guys. Look, I got so wrapped up, I didn't even look over here at the comments. All these people are saying hello. There's Gene and Lynn and Chris and Cliff and Walter. High five to all of you guys. Great seeing you. And this is terrific. I got so wrapped up talking about all this stuff. I got these 2 screens. I didn't see all these comments coming through. So if you feel like you want to kind of chime in and say hi and give a high five to everybody, and but you happen to be listening to this on a podcast, then when you get back home or whatever, head over to Building High Value WordPress Sites. It's our Facebook group where we do these live workshops every Tuesday. If you're in the group now and you're like, man, sometimes I can't make it here every single Tuesday at 2. I want to be able to take this on the go. Go subscribe to the podcast, and you can get it on like Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, all of that's there too. So you can enjoy this either way you want, live here or kind of on the road there. So awesome, guys. Again, head over to doublestack.net/call if you want to get a time to talk. That would be awesome. I really look forward to it. And until then, if you have any other questions, want to chime in the conversation, make a note here. And Lynn's giving a high five to everybody. High five back to you, Lynn. Boop. And then I'll be keeping an eye on these comments, and we'll get back together again next Tuesday. All right, guys, fantastic. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you next week.